everyone, and welcome to another video by Happy Place Creations, and thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to use my inlays that I sell in my eBay store to make a wedding platter. And I have previously had colored these for a video that I had made previously, but I lost the footage due to my computer down. So I'm going to use this mold that has the nice bubble edge. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill that with this rose gold glitter, which is a beautiful glitter. And then we're going to set the inlays in the center to make a nice little platter, make a nice little gift for a wedding couple. So stay with me and we'll begin. Alrighty, I have our resin all mixed up. I'm using the Unicorn Art resin. There it is, nice and clear, mixed to 3 to 4 minutes. And then I put it in the bubble remover. As you all know, I struggle with the name of that machine, which I should know it. I'm going to make a note and put it right in front of me so I can remember. So let's get our glitter in. I mixed up 4 ounces because I'm only going around the edge, which is probably too much. So maybe I'm going to get a separate cup. I got a separate cup, so I'm only going to mix up a little bit. That way I can use the clear resin for something else. I don't need all that glitter per se into anything else. If I need it, I can always mix up more. Let me set that out of the way. Let's get our glitter in. I'm loving these extra long popsicle sticks. I am so sorry I've missed a few days on getting out a video. My computer was not acting great at all. But now I hope I've got the problem all fixed and we can get back to our video routine. Oh, and that's going to be a beautiful coverage. Now, how to tell your coverage is you want to bring your stick up. If you don't see your stick, then you know you've got a lot in there. But if you happen to still see your stick, then you know it's a little weak. But that is totally your preference on how much glitter you want to put in your item. If you're doing a tall item, then you might want to use some glue because your glitter will settle right to the bottom and that's going to leave a clear spot. Alrighty, let's try putting this in here without making such a mess. Let's see. I should have done this before I was going to pour, but this is just going to help me to try to keep my space clear of where I'm trying to put the resin. The glitter, I mean. It's just something I want to try. I thought I'd bring you along for the journey. See if this is going to work at all. Less cleanup for me. If this is going to stick. This is just painter's tape. I'm just putting it around the edge to see if this will help keep me from getting everything dirty. And I don't want to get the tape in my edges, because that would be hard to get that out. So that will help a little bit. That way I don't have to clean in here if I make a mess. Just food for thought, guys, it's all. I don't know how many other people struggle with having to clean up their messes. There. I don't seem to have much hanging over. Let's pick this up a little bit and clip that a little. Alrighty. Oh, nope, it's still on me. Don't want that in the resin. Alrighty. I think we are good to go. Now this is just going to sink to the bottom layer, because then we have to put a clear layer before we put the inlays in. Let's try with the spoon. Oh, and I didn't spray it with alcohol. This will help keep down the bubbles. And I'm only going to fill it up until it reaches that point. Let's get that stick out of there. And I'm still making a mess. But it is what it is. I have to get it in there somehow. Got a big clump in there. Try to pour it, see if I don't make such a mess. Or spill over the top. I don't know about all you guys, but I can make a mess. It's very easy to do with resin. It's like playing in mud puddles, only you get a better result. Let me find my little tool. Push that in. Whoops. Looks like the tape worked a little bit, so I'm only going to have a little bit of a cleanup. But I do want to make sure I have no bubbles under there. So I'm just going to do this, just to help release any air bubbles that might be down in there. Where this is a bubble mold, there's probably going to be air trapped. And this is at the level where I want it to be. So I'm just going to go around and help release any air bubbles that might be trapped in there. So that the resin can flow down into the area. And meanwhile, rub this down into where I want it, or off, one or the other. Clean up some of my little edges here. And then whatever's stuck up here, I can just come back with a piece of tape and peel that off at a later date. And I don't want this tape sticking in there. So I'm just going to take it off. Clean what I can. I gotta move my inlays over to the other side so I can get to a baby wipe. Oh, looks like I need a new package. Alright. Let's get this wiped off. That tape helped 100%. You should see some of my other projects where it comes up over the top. I make messes, but I clean it up. I do, I clean it up. Now those inlays are available in my eBay store, and you do get 6 of the bride and 6 of the groom. There is also one where you get 3 bride and 3 groom, so you have your options of what you'd like to get. And you just want to go around your little mold and clean up the best that you can, so that you won't have anything sticking to the surface when we go to put in the clear resin on the next level. And that's what it takes. Just clean it up a little. But you also can do it when the resin is dry. Come back with a piece of tape. But you want to be careful that you don't dislodge your resin so that any resin gets down underneath. Because that is very important, that you don't dislodge your resin from your mold, because that will cause leaks. That's why I'm being so picky right now with it being wet. I'm just trying to get it cleaned. Whoops, I don't want that. Get that cleaned off. Guess I should have left the tape, huh guys? But we all learn. Like I said, it was just a learning thing. I was going to try it out and see if it worked pretty good. It did. Alrighty. Now I think I'm going to leave the rest and come back with some tape, because I am a fidget. I'm a fidget bug. And I will come back with tape when this is cured and we're ready for the next level. So I will see you when this is cured and we are ready for the next step. Let me just wipe my hands off. So I will see you soon. Alrighty, our layer has dried enough that I can pour the clear resin for the inlays. And again, I'm using the unicorn art resin, excuse me. How that's nice and clear. And I mixed it up for 4 minutes and I put it in the vacuum chamber for about 5 minutes. So now it's time to dump the resin and place our inlays. And then we put it back on the heat mat until it's cured enough that we can take out the inlays. So let's get pouring. Can't get over how clear that is. Sorry. I just like to point out the good stuff. Oh, got to spray a little bit of alcohol because this is our clear level. We don't want any bubbles anywhere. And I'm going to pour it from high up so I can avoid any bubbles. I'm going to try to put it on a stick so it eliminates any of the splashing, which I've seen in other videos. Let it go down slowly till we get a nice level. I mixed up 5 ounces, but I believe that's going to be a little bit too much. So let's let this level out so I can see how much we got. So I don't want to put in too much and go over the top of our inlays. I also want to put a nice pink back on, which is a wine color, which blends in nicely with this glitter. Well, looks about right. So, I'm going to have to take off my gloves at this point to place the inlays, because I don't want to wipe off any of the powder. Well, I don't want to take these off, but I just want to make sure they're on nice and tight, because I want to be able to feel the inlays in my hand. But I want to be able to put my gloves back on should I need to. Alrighty. Now, I know this is the center of my mold because there's an X right there in the center, because my mold has supports on the bottom. So I want to try to centerize them the best that I can without dropping them. And I normally have the droppies. That's just me at my age. I am almost hitting 60. I got a couple years to go, but I'm getting there. I know a girl never tells her age, but you know, we all age. Anyway, I'm going to put the bride in first. So I'm going to have her at a little bend. So this way I can help eliminate any of the air that might build up underneath her. Hopefully. because there is a little indent where her collar is, and her bust stands up. You know how us women are. So I want to just make sure there's no air stuck under there, but I don't want to push the powder off either. So I just want to make sure there's no bubble under there. Okay, I think we got that one. And that is just enough that will hold that inlay in place without it floating. And that's what I'm after. And now I will put in the tuxedo. Now he doesn't have as much to hang on to as she did. He's a little bit thinner. So, unfortunately, he may get dropped. But I want to line them up as best that I can. Again, I don't want to have any air pockets under there. So I'm just going to move him around a little bit, because he also has a collar and a shirt. So there's a little bit of an indent. I should have showed you. I have another set here that I had also painted that I haven't washed off yet. Let me show you what I mean. See, she has a... See, there's a little bit of a... So there's a chance for an air pocket in here, because the necklace sticks up. See what I mean? So there's a chance when you're laying this flat that this air is going to get caught in here. So you just want to move it around a little bit, manipulate it in the resin a little, just so you can get the air bubble out. And as far as him, it's kind of like the same way. His buttons are raised up and his tie's raised up. So there's an indent here as well. So you just want to manipulate it a little bit just to get the air out. I've seen some people will take a little bit of resin and they'll put it on their inlay before they put it in. I do that too, but in this case I didn't want to do that. We'll do that another time with different inlays. I'm just trying to show you different options and different ways. So I think these are good. I got her over a little bit more than I should, but I don't want to go moving them around, because then that's going to take the powder and smush it on our mold. And that I don't want to do. Because at this point the powder will rub off in your resin and it will smudge your tray. And I think we got just the right level to where we'll be able to pull these out and it will leave the imprint. Like I did say, she is a little bit thicker than he is. So I think when I make the next set, when I send yours out, I'm going to make her a little thinner so that they kind of match. These are mine. So I think I am going to add just a little bit more to bring this level up just a little more. Without pouring any in. So I don't want to add bubbles. But I want to bring this level up just a little bit more. Just so I can close her in as far as her neckline. And then I will find use for the rest of this resin. Like I said, I made 5 ounces and that was too much. And I have my Lulu barking at the door, wanting to make her presents. And I don't want to get anything on top of the inlays, so we have a hard time getting them out. but I want to make it deep enough so that we do leave our imprint behind. So I think that is going to do it. Yep, I think that is going to do it. So I will put this back on the heat mat, and as soon as it has cured enough, then we will be back. And I gotta check for bubbles around my edges here, because this mold, it's not deep enough for these. I don't want to have bubbles. But like I said, we're going to be pouring another level. Well, maybe I better pour just a little bit more, just to bring that level up in the underneath, so I'm not having bubbles. But I don't want my inlays to really float. See here, I don't want to have bubbles. I mean, it's not like it's going to be seen from the top, but it's the point I'm going to know they're there. That's my whole thing right there. I will know they're there. I think we can go up a little bit more. Got some bubbles on this side, underneath. And I want to make sure they're not there. My puppies are really getting upset out there. There must be someone in the driveway. Or it's another school bus. And I want to make sure there's no bubbles around our inlay. So I'm trying to find my little stick, which I probably used on my jewelry counter. Excuse me. Let's just make sure we have no bubbles under here. I am using my clay tools today on my resin. These are what I use to make my inlays with, my clay. So I make something out of clay and mold it and shape it, and I will make a video at some point to show you how I make your inlays. But it's one video at a time, right? This is how the process begins, I am told. Try to get any bubbles and get our inlays right. Make sure they're level. Like I said, I don't want to move it around too much because I don't want the powder to spread, but I don't want any bubbles. I think we're looking pretty good. Alright, this is my last time saying I'm going to put it on the heat mat, and when it's cured, we will be back. So I shall see you in a moment. Alright everyone, I am back, and our project is cured enough that we can remove the inlays and do a top coat, and I'm going to use the Let's Resin Mica Powder Wine, and I'm thinking of mixing some of this iridescent glitter that I got from Walmart. It's got some of the shine in it, so I thought I'd put some of that very lightly, just to bring some glitter, some shine to the back. It is a wedding. So let's remove these inlays, and once we have the inlays out, then we have to fill in where the inlays were and put a backing. So let's get to it. Let me grab a baby wipe. Sorry about that, I should have already had it out. And we shall get these inlays out. This is still kind of sticky, but all you got to do is get underneath the inlay, just release it from the mold and just lightly pull it out, and the inlay should come out fairly clean. And then you just wipe it down with some soap and water and let it air dry, and it's good for the next use. And at sometimes there's a little bit of resin that may go over the inlay, and you just clear it off. And I did have some air bubbles, which is what I had mentioned before, but this is for demonstration purposes. We'll see how it looks from the front when we demold it completely. I probably can fix them, but like I said, this is for demonstration purposes. And again, we have some resin that went over our inlay a little bit. That was from me playing after I shut the video off. And it just pops right off. Normally it comes off in one piece. Sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. And there it goes, just like that. And check to see if there's any more covering your inlay. If not, you're good to take it out. Just like that. And there's where our inlays were. We had a bubble right there where his tie was. We can also see it on the inlay right there. So you really got to be careful about bubbles. But this is what inlays do. You color them, you put them in your resin, and it leaves the imprint of where the inlay was. So now I just have to clean up the edges a little bit, because there was a little bit of resin here. Because you do need to clean your edges before you can fill where you took out the inlay. And most of the time you can just use a utility blade. Just trim it right off if it doesn't come out on its own. Just trim it right off. And there it goes. It's right there. So now my edges are smooth. Oh, we got a piece right there. And she's nice and smooth. So other than the bubbles, those inlays worked very well. So I'm very happy with those inlays. So I think for the next step, where I filled this up so much, I'm going to take this out of the mold completely before we do the next step. So now we get to see how they look like from the front. Just get my mold started here. With acrylic nails, it's not so easy to start things when it's very tight. So you got to have a lot of help. I would like to take this opportunity to say, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. That helps out my channel an awful lot, and I am trying to build something here on YouTube. I have more inlays coming. I have more molds coming. Just loosen it up all the way around. There we go. And then I can start pulling it out of the mold. And she's out. Now let's see how our rim came out. Yep, those air bubbles are right there. See, this is what I mean about air bubbles. Sorry, the lighting. These are the air bubbles that got trapped. So make sure you get all your air bubbles out, because it can affect your products. But overall, those inlays worked very well. Very well. So I am going to get out my mica powder. I'm going to clean up my tray, get out the mica powder, and show you how we can fix this. Alrighty, I think I have everything now. Took me a minute to remember what I had used for mica powder. So, you just want to get your brush out, and dip your powder in, and you just want to paint over the areas where the powder, where the bubbles showed up. Oh, I guess we're not going to be able to do that right now. The reason those bubbles are there is because I didn't put a thick enough coat. And I will show you what I'm talking about. This is why. See that? So we are going to have to do a top coat before we're going to be able to fix this. Now he didn't go to the bottom, but apparently I pushed her down too far. So we are going to have to do a top coat before we're going to be able to fix that. So I'm going to mix up some resin, and I will be right back. So let me have a moment to think. Because first we have to fill her in. This is what has to be done, is we have to fill her in, plus we have to do a top coat. So this is a double whammy to fix this. Alrighty, I have put the inlay back in, and now I'm going to put some tape to hold that inlay in, and I'm going to put a light coat over the top. And this is going to hold it, hopefully, so that we can get this closed in. Because I have found no holes under the groom, just the bride. And like I had said, if anyone orders any of these, I am going to make her thinner so she matches him. So this issue doesn't happen to any of you. This is my prototype. Basically, these are my inlays I have made out of the items I have made, so that you guys would have new inlays to work with. So I have, these are my prototypes so that I can show you guys how to use them. So this is how I work out the kinks, is by using them with you guys. So I have put the inlay back in because this is very thin. That's where that hole was. So now I'm going to put a top coat over the top to seal this in so that I can fix the issue from the back before we fill her in. So I'm going to go mix up some resin, and I will be right back again. Alrighty, I have the resin all mixed up. This is Unicorn Art resin, nice and clear. Sorry about that. Alrighty, I am going to spray a little bit of alcohol because this is a top coat, and we got all these little avenues here. Just want enough to seal in that hole. So that we can take care of that issue. I only did a couple ounces. Just want to make sure we have no more air bubbles, especially in our little grooves here. Generally, doing a top coat, I don't like to spray alcohol because it can leave a film, but my alcohol is 100%. So I will now put this back on the heat mat, and as soon as this has cured, I'll be back and we can continue. And I only have a little bit of resin left, and I will find something to do with that. Just thought I would show you my new mold here and what I was going to do with the rest of this resin. Thought I would fill this heart up. I'll put a little bit of that wine color in it and some of that iridescent, and we'll see how that's going to come out. So if anybody's interested in purchasing this tray when it's done, they will get this heart for free. Let's see, have I opened it yet? Let's just put a little bit in there, just enough to highlight. Boy, does this stuff go everywhere. Goodness gracious. Glad I did it off my table. Oh yeah, that's gonna look nice. Look at that. Now where this has a lot of little indents and grooves and stuff, you definitely want to spray it with alcohol. That's going to help with the air bubbles. I hope this is enough resin. And as you can tell, I'm using the tray because I already moved my big tray, so I'm using this as a tray. Just moving the alcohol around a little bit. And then we'll pour. Looks like that's going to be just enough. some air bubbles coming up now. Gotta stop using that. Let's get some air bubbles out of here. Get that resin down into where it needs to be. I think I might have put a little bit too much in. I can take it out. All you do is just a little bit at a time. Just push this back in. I love these silicone tools. See what I mean by I'm messy? This is how I learned how to take care of my messes early on. This is how we learn. Write in the comments to anyone else who might be a messy creator. I would love to hear it. Alrighty, I think I got it all down in there now. I'll put this over on the heat mat as well. And we will demold that at the same time. Just clean up the edges a little bit. That's that much less I'm going to have to take care of when the time comes. And there we go. I shall see you all when it's cured. Alrighty, our item is cured. Now we can go in and remove the inlay and patch up this item. Just take away the masking tape. What's that? A piece of masking tape? Nope, that looks like it came up over. So, let's try this again. Just simply pull up the inlay. Gotta fix that. Looks like it came up into where the inlay was. Let's see how it did in the front. Nice. Looks like we had some glitter that floated, but that just adds to the item. Let's say the ambiance, but alrighty, now we gotta fix these bubbles and then repaint our inlay area. I'm just checking the area to see and make sure everything's good in there before we progress to the next stage. Everything seems to be okay in here. Now, we had a bubble right there by his tie. best way to normally take care of bubbles is to drill them out and then refill them in. However, I just did the nice top coat. This is a beautiful top coat on this, which I was going to have to do anyway, and I don't want to disturb that top coat. So, now that we can see from both sides, that basically looks just like another button. The way that hit there. So maybe I will put that as another button. Just keep in mind the inlay does not have a button there. Where did I put it? Yeah, he does not have a button under his tie. But for the sake of this bubble, let me show you. I'm talking about the area right here under his bubble, under his tie. See, that formed a bubble right there. So there is no button here. But because that's a bubble, I'm going to make that a button. Just to get rid of it. To make that bubble disappear. And that now looks like a button. So when we fill that in, that's just going to look like another button. So that took care of that bubble. Sorry, I told you I was picky. But I want it to look its best. Absolutely want it to look its best. See if there's anything else I need to touch up here. Just have to be very aware that air bubbles can get caught in where there's inlays. I should have put the resin on the inlay before I put it in, and I didn't. So that is my fault. As you saw me just stick it in there. Alrighty, so let's get this taken care of. I have my switching sponge, so if I have to use the same brush, all this is an eyebrow switching sponge, sorry. And you just use one powder and then you go like this and then you can go to the next powder. It's awesome. I picked it up at the local Dollar Tree. Let's try putting some of this in here. I don't think we're going to get them bubbles to disappear, but I'm going to try. But anyway, this shows you how you can patch and fix things. These are micro bubbles. And when you have an inlay, you don't want to use fire at all. Because you can burn your inlays. I'm just doing a tapping motion and a rubbing in motion, trying to get it into those little areas where the bubbles were. to see if I can mend those areas. Sometimes this works, sometimes this does not work. Blow off the excess. You can clearly see where these bubbles were, but it's a lot better than it was. Now I use my switching sponge. And we will just touch him up a little bit. This is not necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, this brings up another point. You don't necessarily have to pre-color your inlays. You can put them in, take them out, and then color the area after you have removed them. Which is like I probably should have done here, but this is showing you how to fix a bad area. So I'm actually glad this did happen. And micro powder or glitter or flakes or whatever you're using will stick to the silicone. I mean the resin. Just as if you had colored the, blowing out the extra. See, much better, much better. Okay. I will do that procedure in a different video. Let's just get these out of the way for right now. Gotta go put them in the wash. Remember to wash them with some warm soap water and let them air dry, and then they will clean for the next use. Now this is what we're going to use, is the wine for the back color. Now, given the circumstances of what just happened, I'm not sure what I'm going to fill them in with. And I do see a spot on his tie that I want to color. Yes, that's the color I used. Okay. This is where I become picky. But before I go mixing up any more resin, let's take a look at what I found with the extra. I made a pendant, which I will put something on there wedding themed. And this is the heart you saw me pour. Let's see how it come out. Oh wow, look at that. Look at that. Now that gives me an idea. That gives me an idea. My mind's always racing. Okay, let's move on to this one. I will go mix up some resin, and we will fill in the bride and the groom And we're going to be doing a back, but we need to get them filled in first. And I think I'm going to, I don't want to put a black or white. So I think I'm just going to fill it in with the wine and see what happens. So let's give it a shot. This is for demonstration purposes. So I shall be right back after I mix you up some resin. Alrighty, I'm back. I have the resin all mixed up. It's the Unicorn Art resin. I added just a little bit of the glitter to see where I want to have my level of glitter before I add the mica powder for the coloring. So I think that's right where I want it. So now I'm just going to add a little bit of mica powder. I think I'll use a stick so I'm not adding an overabundance here. I'll mix that in and see how that's going to come out. It's pretty much going to look just like the pendant did. And this heart. And that's what I'm going to use for my filler. My edge is clear, all but that one spot right there with a little bit of a bubble. And I don't want this to leak over. So let's just make sure she's not going to. And with the border, I can use just a little bit of UV resin to make sure I don't get any spills. Is that another one? But that is a big one. I just put a little bit of resin in that bubble. And now I'm curing it with my UV light. This is going to prevent that resin from spilling down over the side. And it's well underneath the border. Because where I overfilled it a little bit, I have a nice rim. So that will catch the resin I'm about to put on there, and it will hold it back so it's not going to drip all down around the side. I'm just holding there for a minute or so, just so I know it's going to cure. This is just a trick to hold it back. Because once I put the coloring on, I won't be able to cure that from underneath. You don't ever want to look right into a UV light. That can ruin your eyes very quickly. But this is my UV light. My portable light. of the way before we pour the other resin. Let's see, can that come off? I'm just snipping off a tiny piece right there. I mean, even though it's a demo, it doesn't mean it has to look bad. We're going to begin with the gown. Yeah, the gown. I was thinking tux, but gown, but was pouring in the tux. Now this will help darken the suit and the gown. Just want to get bubbles out. We have enough that are in there, and I want to make sure we don't get any more. But I got to be careful because I just put powder back in there, and I don't want to wipe it up. But remember, bubbles like to hide anywhere there's a curve. So you always want to take care of that. Alrighty, now we will go around it. Oops, and I spilt some. Put it on and we'll spread it around. You can also do a tape around the edge. So this doesn't happen, like right there. Let me put that cup in your way for just a moment. Let me wipe this off before I forget it's there. Now see, I don't want to put it too high because then it will go over. That seems to have leveled itself, so let's pull it to the edge. Just slightly pull it to the edge. Resin is self-leveling. Just want to let you all know I'm going to have new days of when I'm posting. I've been trying to post every other day, but there's a suggestion, I should pick certain days and times. So I've decided I'm going to be posting on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And I have written down my times. Thursdays and Fridays, it will be at 2 o'clock. And on Saturday, I will be posting at 9 o'clock. So when I add some more days, as I am new trying to get videos out every other day, I've decided to go to 3 days a week. And my video screen just went black, so I'm hoping I'm still recording. Sorry about that. All I'm doing is putting some on and just lightly pulling it to the edge. Remember that rim I said I had around the edge? That's where I want it to be, but I don't want to go too high over the rim. Because as I get this resin all mixed together, it's going to self-level. And I will be putting this on the heat mat. As soon as it's cured, I will be back and we will do... There really isn't much of a demold because it's already out of the mold. But we will turn it over and see the reveal and see how she came out. So I'm just going to finish going here around the edges, bringing it nice and snug so that this resin can self-level itself. Without going over the edge. And I will find something to do with that. I thought 2.5 ounces were going to be enough, but it looks like it was too much. Let's fill that in a little more so that's nice and flat here on the back. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be thinning her out. I will work on that as soon as this video gets posted. There we go. And because there is no mold, you could essentially use a lighter. But I'm going to just do a couple squirts of the alcohol. And now I'm going to leave it alone. And I think I am going to do another heart. All these little grooves and stuff, you definitely want to put enough alcohol down in there. Pour some resin in. This time I'm not going to overflow it before I get rid of the bubbles. Let's get down in there. That came out beautiful. may get another pendant out of that even. There we go. We got another heart. Alrighty, I am back and it is cured and ready to be not demolded, but ready for its debut. I got it the right way. Now, I filled it in with the glitter, and I should have filled it in with a white and a black backing. So, this is the result. But this is showing you how inlays work. Let me give you, there we go. Now if I hadn't filled this in with glitter, she would have been solid. He was black, therefore it didn't show so much. But this shows you the effects on how an inlay does in fact work. Now, should anyone be interested in this as it is, there's nothing I can do now. It's been set in resin. But should you want to have this, I will sell this at cost. I need to weigh it. But just send me an email. I will put my email across the screen. And I will let you know what the price is. And, because this is something I don't feel I could put in a store. So I will sell you this at cost. And let's see how our heart turned out. It feels like it's still a little soft. But I'm going to demold it anyway. And I have come up with a mold idea to incorporate these hearts. So you can look for a mold that's going to incorporate these hearts. Yes, that is very soft. So this is how the second one turned out. And this is our first one. So they are very similar. This one needs to be trimmed a little bit, and I will get to that. But I just wanted to show you what I did with the extras. And this is what else I did with the extras. I made a necklace and an earring set. And you can find this in the eBay store. This will be listed. And this can be purchased on my eBay store. And I made the earrings to match the necklace with the little bails. And it does have an adjustable necklace. I'm sorry, I don't have the gold fittings for the necklaces. I'm going to order some. And hopefully they'll be here in time should you order this, purchase this, that I can swap this out. The full detail will be in the eBay listing for this necklace and earrings set. And should you purchase this at cost, I will throw in these two hearts as well. I will turn these into magnets, and you can put these on your fridge or your file cabinet, whichever you prefer. So I will throw some magnets on the back. So feel free to contact me regarding the purchase of this. This will not be in my eBay store, so you will have to send me an email. So this does conclude my video on showing you how to use this set of inlays or any of my inlays. It's the same idea. So I will have this as a demonstration only for that purpose under the wedding listing. And this concludes my video today. So I thank you for joining me today. I hope everyone is happy and healthy. I hope your crafts turn out amazing. Should you purchase a set of my inlays, please enjoy. Please do check out my eBay listings linked down below. You have a blessed day, and I will see you in the next video.